Hello, welcome back. I've got something a little bit different for you today. A little bit weird. We're going off script just for a little bit. Don't worry about it. This was an idea that was presented to me by a good friend of mine. He was like, "Hey, Folon, I really liked your Valhalla videos," and I was like, "Thank you. How sweet of you. Thank you." And he said, "Hey, one thing you should do is you should go and make a tier list of the characters." And I said, "That's a genius idea, good friend of mine. That is a genius idea. I love making tier lists. It's really fun. It's something that I do occasionally in my spare time, and then I lord them over people with worse opinions. So that's what I'm going to do here, except publicly this time on the internet and not privately in the comfort of my normal social circles. So, a couple of ground rules. Initially, when I was looking at this, I was like, all right, we're going to rank all the characters, based on, how much I like them, right? How good the characters are. But then I thought about it, and I was like, it's going to be kind of a boring list. It's not going to be very interesting, right? Because barring, a couple exceptions, pretty much every character in this damn game is real cool and real unique, and I really liked a lot of them. And so I was like, I can't have a tier list of just everyone S tier or every, half S and A or whatever, right? So we're spicing it up. We're taking a spin. And this is going to be a Valhalla VA-11 Hall-A cyberpunk bartending action waifu/husbando tier list. Now, what this means is that we are ranking them based on their waifu or husbando potential, right? That's what this is. Disclaimer, this is obviously my opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own. I'm sure there are characters that you like that I don't, or characters that I like that you don't. Just know that you are entitled to your own opinion, and that is totally fine. And you can disagree with me all you like. That doesn't mean you're correct, though. This is a definitive, objectively correct tier list, and that's all there is. I'll brook no opposition on this. I've got our tiers all set up here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not really going to dive too deep into it. The only thing I want to clarify, though, is that the lowest tier here is indeed Lose My Number tier. I do have one below it here that is just titled Who. If you are in Who tier, that doesn't mean that you are worse or better than anyone in any other tiers. That is I don't have enough information about this character. They didn't get enough screen time. I don't feel like I can properly judge them. So anyone that I'm not confident in placing in a tier is going to go into Who tier. I don't think there's terribly many of them, because there's only a couple characters that only show up once or twice that I might be like, I don't know if I feel right about that. But here we go. Let's just dive right into it. We're starting with Alma. Now, Alma is a sweetheart. Don't get me wrong. She has a very strong, familial connection. She really cares a lot about her sisters, her parents, right, and all of that. And I that's something I really respect, right? You don't want to. I don't know. Maybe you do, but anytime I talk with someone, they're like, "I hate my family." I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go." Right? Here's tragic backstory number 3,580. Right? Here we fucking go. However. Oh, also, no. Let's keep talking about positives while we're on this. This is gonna be a rambly video, by the way. I don't have anything prepared. All I did was I wrote the tiers, and that's all we have set up for this. So there's going to be a lot of rambling as I organize my thoughts as we go through this. Also, I think Alma's a fucking, hacker. That's kind of cool, right? That's pretty lit. I enjoyed computers, not to, an extreme degree like that, but there's something cool about that. I think that would lead to a lot of interesting discussions, and I could learn a lot. It'd be very academic. It'd be very, very interesting to talk with her about this kind of stuff. The downsides, however, is that holy hell, does Alma have some fucking drama. Oh my god. You want to talk about baggage? The whole stuff with her sister and her kids, just listening to it, way too much. That is not something I want to dive into. Alright, it is respectable that she cares so much about her family, but oh my god, is her family a wreck based on what we see in this. And for me personally, I can't handle that. My life is already coming apart at the hinges as it is. I don't need to introduce more chaos into it. Alright, that's just not how this goes. Now, that is a knock against her. It's not a huge one. But I don't think we can go into some of the really high tiers. I think for me, I'd put Alma into maybe like a coffee date tier. All right, you know, occasionally come out, chat, talk about some things, have a nice time, but not like a see every week, you know, or you know, even more than that, perhaps. Who could say? Anna. Anna's a weird one because Anna is not real. She is a ghost, a figment of Jill's imagination, so I'm not really sure how to feel about this one. But I'm going to rate her as if she was not a ghost and everyone else could interact with her. Anna is very sassy, and I really respect that. I really like how every time she appears, her whole entire life goal is to just fuck Jill up and just be like, ah, dumbass, you said something stupid in front of customers. Serve me a drink and I'm gonna pour it on the counter. You know, like, I think that is hilarious. I'm super into that. However, one huge knock is that every time Anna shows up, she changes that goddamn TV channel. And I can't stand that, all right? We can't abide by that in this household. That's not okay. Because of that, I think Anna is going to go below Alma into the occasional chat tier. It's kind of a fun person to hang around every now and then, but sometimes it can be a little too much, right? You don't always want that trickster energy in your life, right? You don't need that constant chaos. You feel me? But sometimes it can be nice to kind of spice it up a little bit, right? Oh, his name was Art. Art is a weird one. He's like... Art's like a dad. He's got heavy dad energy, like concerned dad energy. But I don't know, something about Art really rubs me the wrong way. Like every time I talk to Art, I just like want to roll my eyes. And specifically, the one big key point that really comes to my memory when I first look at his picture and I think of Art is I'm like, he's a private detective, right? Private eye. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Your job doesn't matter too terribly much to me. Unless it's something insanely interesting, like, I don't know, being a professional hacker. I think that's really cool. But, you know, I can look past, you know, I'm a private. I guess being a private eye could be cool, but it depends. I imagine real life private investigative work is very boring. I imagine it is not very Hollywood-esque. So I don't know, but I'm sure there are some cool stories he could tell. However, the one thing that comes into my mind every time I think about Art is I think about the discussion he had with Stella, where they were talking about, like, the classes, right? And Art was just like, eat the rich, hate screw you, millionaire, billion companies, like, and don't get me wrong, I get that. I understand that. I understand on a very spiritual level. However, it paints him in a really bad picture when Stella is trying to point out, you know, the advantageous things happening with, like, you know, these, like, big pharmaceutical medical companies being like, actually, our economy is great right now, or, you know, look at all the advances we've had in medicine that people wouldn't be able to access if they just wouldn't exist, right? Even though maybe not everyone can afford them, but, you know, it's better some people can than none because we don't have that development, right? And then he's just like, yeah, but rich people, like, it just comes across as, like, whiny. And, like, I don't know, almost, like, petty. And so because of that, that is my overwhelming feeling towards Art. I'm going to put him into avoid eye contact tier. He's someone where he sits across the bar, and I'm like, oh, God, there's Art. Please don't come up to me. But you're not going to, if they do, you come, oh, hey, how's it going, buddy, right? And you deal with it. And sometimes it's fine, right? But you're like, I don't know. We're kind of on the die roll. Is this going to be another tirade about, like, who knows what? Who could say? Now, first off, I have a problem because I thought this tier list was organized alphabetically. This is 4, but 4 begins with F, and the next person is Brian, and then Dana. So I'm guessing they just named this as Cat, which is fucked up. I want to say that is insanely fucked up. We're gonna need to. All right, hear me out. Right, hear me out. We're gonna do some live editing. Okay. We're going to do some real live editing here. Don't worry about this. We're going to make a little purple tier. And this is going to be the literal anim... No, actually, no. This is going to be cat tier. I'm not rating the cat on the waifu husbando tier list. That's just not... I can't handle that. That's too much for me. If you want, you can put 4 wherever you want. I think that's fucked up, though. So we're just gonna move on from that. Brian. Now, Brian really only shows up the one time, right, to talk to Dana. Dana? I probably say it different every time, and I will continue to do so. The interactions we had with him, Brian was pretty chill, honestly. Like, he was kind of down to earth, pretty level. I can't get too upset at Brian for anything. However, I don't really feel like we got a good grasp of his personality. He seemed reasonable as like the manager, right? Your regional. As far as regionals go, he seemed like a very chill one. But I can't say that I could confidently put him in any tier, because I don't feel like we got a good look into Brian's personal, like, how he is outside of work. I think we got to look at his work life. So because of that, Brian is going to be our first Who tier. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Brian could be incredible. I don't know. I don't feel confident putting him anywhere. Now we're talking, though. Hear me out. Hear me out. Boss. Oh, baby. What is there not to say about Boss? Like, she's strong as hell, which is cool. Like, I love that she'll just randomly do, like, pro wrestling moves. She'll just suplex Gil just for the hell of it. That's radical. That's cool as hell. She's got a sick metal arm. Just, like, insane levels of cool factor from that as well. But even on top of that, where a lot of the stuff that makes Dana really cool to me, other things such as, like, I don't know, just her general, like, assertive attitude. I absolutely love that. I know what I said. Anytime she fucks up Alma's name, I love it. I'm super in for that. Love spicy food. These are all positives for me. But even on top of all of that, where it's just like these kind of badass, cool check boxes, she's got a real heart of gold. Like, she really, really looks out for not only Jill a lot in the story, but also Gil. She's donating to, like, the dog humane society shelter. I don't remember what they were called, but, like, the little dog home that the dogs were running, which is kind of weird. Oh, excuse me. Like, the only things I could think of as downsides for Dana, for Boss, is that, also, I would probably just call her Boss all the time, because that's a radical nickname, is that, you know, there's the one little weird incident with Say's helm, with the Valkyrie helmet, where she just kind of puts it on and it gets stuck. Little impulsive, right? But, and normally that would be a big downside for me. However, she handles that situation on her own. She doesn't come begging and crying to Gil and to Jill and to be like, oh, help me, I've done it. You know, she's like, nah, I'll figure this out. I got it. I got into this mess. I'll get out of it. I love that can-do attitude. And because of all of these positives, Boss is an easy notice me senpai tier. I didn't talk about this also. I meant to discuss this in the initial, when I was going through everything. I will be ranking people within tiers. So the farther to the left you are, that is higher, right? So in theory, like, I'm just going to move here. Let's say Anna was in coffee date tier. If this is how this looked, Alma would be higher than Anna. We got that out of the way. Next up is Deal. Deal doesn't show up a ton. Him and Betty only show up, 3, maybe 4 times? But I really like Deal. Deal, he's got a very kind of, like, chill vibe, and I respect that. You don't, and I think he really kind of plays as a good foil to Betty, who's this very, like, over-the-top, assertive character, whereas Deal is kind of like the trying to reel her in and keep her in check, right? The reality check, if we will. But again, the one big thing that sticks in my mind with Deal that really impressed me, actually, was when him and Betty came into the bar. It was like the last day that they show up. And they're talking about that girl at their office that really, really liked Deal. And he's like, I don't know how to handle this. Like, I don't know what to do, right? And I really respected that, because it showed how much that he really cared about this other person's feelings, right? He really shows a lot of compassion. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he'd be a really great guy to kind of hang out with. I don't know if he's someone that I'd want to consistently see. I don't feel like we get a lot of, like, I don't know. I like someone with a bit more force to their personality. You feel me? That's a bit more. However, that is by no means saying that Deal is in. He is definitely in the top half of this tier list by far. I think I'll put Deal. I think Deal goes into coffee date tier. I think I could see myself, yeah. I think I could see myself, chatting with him a bit, hanging out. Great. I don't think he goes above Alma, though. I think I would rather go hang out with Alma. I think our conversations I think our immediate, like our first few would be fine for either way, but I think in the long term, I would prefer to talk to Alma because she will have more new and interesting things to talk about than Deal does. I could be wrong, but that might just be because we see a lot more of Alma than Deal, but that is how we are right now. Oh, Lord. Donovan D. Dawson. I don't know what to say about this man that is positive. Other than he's, like, hella based, insanely based, and I do like kind of the perspective that he brings a lot of the times to media and news where he's like, yeah, I know it's all bullshit, whatever, but oh my god, is this man a scumbag. Like, not only does he treat his workers like garbage, he literally calls them names behind their back, right? Which, like, let's be real, everyone's done that before, but still, it puts a bad taste in your mouth, right? But he also, like, literally catcalls women. He, like, he gropes Alma, I believe it was, when she comes into the bar one time, and she fucking bitch slapped him. Good on her, by the way. Mad respect for that. It's just like an actual, like, lecher. He's like stalking Kira Miki at one point. It's just that Donovan is an easy lose my number tier. I could not imagine what it would be like to try and spend prolonged amounts of time with this man. Not even necessarily in a romantic sense, but also that, like, holy hell. Oh, Dorothy. Dorothy's a tough one for me. And I'm going to get some flack for this, and I'm prepared for that. I'm ready for that. Normally, I take a very hard stance on a lot of these animu tropes, right? And if you presented me the checklist of what Dorothy is, or if you came up and you said, hello, Folon, this is the spark notes for my character, what do you think? And the spark notes were the following. Robot girl, looks 12 but actually of age. It's fine because she's a robot. Also, she's a sex worker. I would throw the clipboard onto the ground and burn it instantly. I would be furious with you for bringing this to me, and I would never forgive you, and we would probably never talk again for at least like a couple days while I cooled off. And then eventually I'd forget about it and we'd move about our days. However, talking with Dorothy is actually a really interesting character to talk to. Her perspective on things is very, like, I don't know, I really love kind of the existential crisis she has at one point, and it brings a lot of the humanity to the Lilim. She is the Lilim that you interact with the most, and she is the one who really convinced me that, in this world, right, like they're talking about like Lilim rights and whatever, and that's where I stated a lot of times, Lilim are just people. Because every interaction I had with Dorothy, I was like, I could see this being a real person I'm talking to. She's got kind of her jokey, practical, prankster side, haha, I'm gonna make Jill laugh by saying, crude jokes, right? I'm also gonna do horrible, crude jokes in like the mall as a public, prank or whatever. But there's something just so, like, wholesome about her. I don't know. I don't think I can get over the fact that she's designed to look like a child. That freaks me out. I really don't like that. However, I think the lowest I could in good conscience put Dorothy is in coffee date tier. Now, I'm trying to figure out where. And I think I would probably put Dorothy above Alma. I think she's going to be the top of coffee date tier. Just because, again, like, I don't know, she doesn't have a lot of, the downsides for her are in this, like, physical appearance, which is a real big stickler for me, mind you. I'm really not feeling great about it. I don't like the whole, haha, they're actually a 1,000-year-old dragon, aesthetic. That's really, really a negative for me. Honestly, if it wasn't for that, I think if Dorothy was aged appropriately for her, like she had the physical age of her actual maturity, she would at least go up 1 tier, maybe into Notice Me Senpai tier. I like easily top 2, but I think that enough is able to drag her down into Coffee Date for me. I'm sorry, Dorothy lovers. I know there's a decent amount of you out there. Very popular character. I can't overlook it. I don't remember your name. I do remember that you're a Lilim and that you were with the cosplayers, if I remember correctly. There were her and, this girl right here, right in front of her, Geo. Those were the 2 that came in, right? For the cosplay event, or the expo, or whatever it was. She was kind of the weird one, right? Who just kind of like stared at us. And I think she saw Anna the ghost. She was like, do you know you have a ghost tailing you? And you were like, what's up with you, weirdo? That's kind of strange. Not really much to go off of. So that's a pretty easy who tier for me. Like, we don't know anything about her. It's just, I can't rate someone I don't know, right? All right, Gabby, look, I didn't think we were gonna have to do this. I didn't think that it was going to be this difficult or this dire, but Gabby is a literal child, and I can't even type literal. Literal. Gabby's a literal child, so as such, she is going into literal child tier. There is no argument on this. However, I will talk about her as a character, as if this were a character tier list itself, right? If this were not a waifu husbando tier list, Gabby would be a real high tier character. I think she portrays like the grief of losing her sister Lenore really damn well. And like when you're that young, you're already going through so much, right? Like your body is changing so heavily. You've got all of these like emotions that are just washing over you that you have no idea how to vent and control. And on top of that, you have to deal with this like insane level of grief of losing, you know, the person closest to you, right? And she does a really good job of like, you know, bottling it all up and keeping it under control. But then the last scene when her and Jill are having their heart-to-heart, it really got me on Gabby's side. Especially when she kind of like finally broke down and was able to let all of that out and kind of vent it, right? It felt very real to me. So yeah, if this were a character tier list, I think she would be at least a B tier. Or I guess this would be an A tier. Maybe an S tier. I don't know. She'd be somewhere between these two. However, she is a literal child. So as such, she goes into the literal child tier. Hold on, I need to take a quick sip before this one. My man Gil. My man Gillian. I don't even know where to begin with Gil. He's mysterious, right? He's got an elusive, mysterious backstory that's pretty hot. He himself is hot. Look at this man. I'm not going to brook opposition on this. Gil is hot as hell. I'm not going to take any flack because you're insane if you disagree. He's a great bartender, a loyal worker. Sure, sometimes he doesn't show up to work, right? You know, because he's got his own stuff to take care of, but it's fine. You know, I've worked in the service industry before. We just call those surprise vacation days, all right? It's fine. Look, and then he always comes back, and it's like it never happened. But the thing that sticks out with Gil the most for me is how insanely loyal he is. He will go above and beyond to help people out for no real reason. Like, no questions asked. Anytime Jill is like, hey, Gil, can you go escort this person home? He's like, no problem, done. No questions asked, easy. I don't need to know the situation. I'm just here to help. And I really respect that. And the only question I have in my mind is, he's going into Notice Me Senpai tier. And the only question is he above Boss for me? That's the real stickler. I don't think he is. Boss has a lot more charm for me. Yeah, I don't think Gil can topple Boss's current, you know, reigning pedestal, the throne right now. But he's damn close. He is damn close. I love Gil. I love every conversation they have. I love our fuckboy John, all right? He's great. Oh, what was your name? It was Ingram. That's right, Ingram. Ingram only stops by a couple of times. We have some long conversations with him, if I remember right. He's very rude at first, and he kind of is rude throughout all of it, but honestly, at some point, it turns less from rudeness into more just, like, bluntness, almost. I don't know. Like, he's kind of... Ingram's a strange one. I'm realizing I say this about everyone now, or I'm like, this one's a strange one. They're all strange ones, which is what make the characters so cool. I like that I can't just immediately, like, snap judgment these characters. Well, there's name a few. These two. The moment I looked at them, I was like, that's a Notice Me Senpai tier. Let's be real. Ingram, though, I don't know where I'd want to put him. He has an interesting kind of viewpoint and the stuff he does with, like, he works with, like, machines as, like, this, like, contractor, right? He's like a mechanic or something. I don't remember the exact details. But the one thing that stuck out with me was he talked about, I believe, and I might be mistaken, but I want to say that Ingram's the guy who, he had, like, a daughter, right, who passed away. And he's been hiring Dorothy to, like, act as his daughter, which is insanely heartbreaking to me. Insanely heartbreaking. But I think on an actual conversational level, I don't know if I'd want to chat with Ingram a lot. He's just so, like, confrontational. I don't know. I think Ingram's gonna go into avoid eye contact here, but I think he goes above Art for me. Where Art is just kind of like an, oh god, groan, here we go. Ingram is like I might be able to get used to him and bump him up to, like, occasional chat, but I think that's as high as Ingram can go for me. That's where he caps out. Jamie. Oh, Jamie is very level-headed. All we really know about it, he's insanely modified cyborg man, right? He's an assassin, kills people for a living. Can't say I particularly respect that. However, what I really like about Jamie is that he doesn't let that define him. Anytime he's in the bar, it's not just assassin this, assassin that, I kill people, you know, I'm gonna put my hood up and sit in the corner of the bar and drink alone, don't talk to me, because I kill people, right? Like, that, I like that. Jamie actually has, like, a personality. He tries to keep his work and social life very cut, clean, and dry. Obviously, I assume for some degree that it's for his own protection. He's a very, very chill, relaxed guy. Honestly, the more I'm thinking about Jamie, the more I like him. Every conversation we have with Jamie is just so, like, level, chill, matter of fact. He doesn't bring up a lot of drama or crazy shit. He doesn't, like, you know, get weird at any moments. He's just, like, a cool guy to hang out with. And I think, honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool. And he's, like, an assassin, right? Like, that's kind of cool, you know? Like, you feel me? You feel me on that? Like imagine, you know, you two are like, you know, oh, let's like, you move in together and, oh god, it's a robber. It's someone breaks into our house. What are we gonna do? And Jamie just fucking goes like T-1000 and annihilates him, right? Like judo chops the guy's head off. Like, oh, my hero. I'm kind of swooning a little bit thinking about this. I think Jamie goes into dinner and a movie. Right? I don't think he can sit in the Notice Me Senpai tier, but I can't think of any negatives for him. And a lot of his positives are someone that I'd really just want to spend a lot of time with. I don't know. I kind of wish we got more time to spend with Jamie. He mostly spent his time with Gil also, which I love Gil, so that perfect, right? It gets along. You know, if I spend more time with Jamie, that means I also get to spend more time with Gil, and vice versa. It's perfect. It's the perfect situation. Now, I don't know why, but we have two Jills here. I'm not sure what that's about, so I'm just going to rank her once. This is a weird one because Jill is the main character, right? We are Jill. But at the same time, Jill very clearly has her own personality. And so a lot of the times when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at it through Jill's eyes from her perspective because it's the one that's delivered to us. But she definitely does have enough of her own personality that I think I can rank her confidently. Jill has that really, like, kind of, I don't even know. It's not even like that kind of, if you're into anime, like that kudere feel. I don't even get that from Jill, really. She's got this, like, heavy levels of sass, which I really love. Like, not even sass in the sense of, like, who was our other sassy person? Like, not like Anna levels of sass, but Jill just kind of has, like, these heavy sarcastic quips which I really, really, that is something that's a real positive for me. Big fan. But on top of that, she goes through such a big emotional development that I almost feel like it'd be a different person looking at Jill from the beginning of the game versus the end of the game. Like, the whole dealing with the death of Lenore thing is crazy. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take her as she is at the end of the game. We're going to treat these characters after we have seen everything that that the game has to provide. So looking at that, she has a lot of emotional maturity after that. And I love that she admits that she doesn't have it all together. That is something I really respect. She's not trying to put on like a fake persona of, oh, I'm totally fine and I'm doing great. Like, every conversation Jill has where people talk to her about like what she's doing in life, she's like, I have no fucking clue. I'm just trying to live, right? And I really respect that, like, transparency. And not even that transparency to show that to other people, but also just to being able to acknowledge that herself. That is something that I struggle with at times, where I like to think, yeah, I'm fine, I'm totally fine. I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing, right? Like, it's a scary world out there, right? And I think Jill is also in dinner and a movie tier. Do I like Jill more than Jamie? That's the real question. I think I do. I think Jill goes higher than Jamie, just because Jamie, while he's a really, really great guy to hang out with, I don't know if Jamie's someone I could bring problems to. I feel like that I could talk to Jill about anything. I feel like I could come up to Jill if we were, you know, in like a more intimate relationship. I could bring anything up to her and it'd be fine. You don't have any of that like weird, you know, how are they going to react to it? And most of that, again, comes from the conversation she had with Gabby near the end. Also, I just really respect how she's like, hey, kiddo, you know, I know how we had like this weird stuff in the past, but going forward, we'll do great. I'm going to look after you, you little snot-nosed brat. Like, I like that. I respect that. Yeah, I'm confident with my placing of Jill at the top of dinner and a movie tier. Jill 2, we'll just leave there. I'm not going to rank second Jill. I guess it's kind of weird. Kim's a tough one. If I remember correctly, Kim actually tries to kill herself in the beginning of the game, right? And Dana saves her. She has like this huge breakdown and she's this huge nervous wreck. But when she quits her job working for this piece of garbage, Donovan, she kind of levels out a lot. But I don't know. Kim's not someone that I could see myself hanging out with a lot. I don't dislike her after she kind of like figures her life out and she's moving forward. It's more of like Kim needs to spend time working on herself. You feel me? Like, she's not there yet. So I think I can put Kim into like occasional chat tier. We can hang out, we can be friends, that's fine. But anything beyond that, I don't know. Like, you got a lot to work through still. You may say it's all fine. I can guarantee you after some traumatic event like that, even though the game takes place over like 2 weeks, there's no way she's totally recovered after all that. There's actually no way. You're still in the process. Kira Miki. Now, Kira Miki, I will say, is an absolute sweetheart. Every talk we have with her, she is just like such a sweet, kind person. The one thing that I do wonder about that is I wonder how much of this is like a front, you know, because I will say with celebrities, you kind of are always have to put your best face forward. You can't really show any other sides of you. So you're very conscientious about how you appear to other people. So Kira Miki might have some weird shit going on that we don't see. I can't judge off of that possibility though, right? Because like on that front, literally every single person here could be like, oh, well, they might not be, you know, how they are, right? I can't do that. But she's real conscientious. She's real sweet. She seems to have a genuine passion and love for what she does and the people that she's able to provide music for. And I really respect that. Also, obviously, some of these people are in committed relationships. We are assuming they are single, right? Naturally. Some of these people are already, my boy Gil is already committed, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't sit and notice me senpai tier. Kira Miki, I'm trying to think. The big downside for me that I'm thinking of where I'm like, if I wanted to spend a lot of time with Kiramiki, is that I don't know if I could be with someone in the showbiz life. Just because you kind of, if you were going to date someone, like for example, in this case, an idol, that level of publicity is going to wash over you. And so you kind of have two options. You either have to go insanely public and basically you now have to be always observed, followed around, you know, deal with all of the nonsense that these poor, like, you know, celebrities have to deal with. You become a celebrity just by association, right? Just wanting to be with this person. Or the other option is you have to live in like a constant fear of trying to keep it hidden. Where you're like, if anyone ever finds out, it all falls apart and breaks down in the scandal and oh my God, right? And you know, whatnot. And both of those sound awful to me. They sound truly terrible. I want to live a nice, quiet life. You know, I want to come home after my job, unwind, chill out, have a nice conversation, have a lovely dinner. Maybe, I don't know, play some games or something, go to bed, right? I'm not out here looking for stardom, fame, all that. I think that I could still put Kiramiki in like a coffee date tier. I think I'd put her maybe above Deal. I think I could, well, I don't know. I don't know. This is hard. These two are kind of interchangeable for me. I don't think she goes above Alma. But, yeah. I'll stick it with this right now. Yeah, all right, I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in. Kiramiki stays above Deal, just because we do get to see a bit more of her personality through her blog. And just, I don't know, she's such a sweet person. I feel like she'd be really fun to just kind of, you know, every couple of weeks go meet up and be like, hey, what's new in your life? Oh, that's crazy, you know? Oh, you're kind of, like, it'd be just a nice, fun time. Now, this is Lenore, if I remember correctly. Lenore has no dialogue in the entire game. So by sheer, you know, by that, she has to go into Who tier, right? We don't actually get to see Lenore act as she is. Any information we have about Lenore is from another party. It's a third-party source, right? Through the grapevine. We do learn a lot about her character from talking to people, mostly Jill talking about Lenore and also talking to Gabby. We do learn a good bit about her. So I will talk a bit about her as she is, but I can't in good conscience put her in any tier besides Who tier, just because I do think that there is bias on all sides of the coin when you are trying to remember things about someone or talk about conversations that happen. Because ultimately, the way we remember things as human beings, we remember them from how they made us feel in our perspective. And I don't think that is fair to judge someone based off of a third person's like perspective on them, right? You want to interact with them themselves and kind of figure that out. So ultimately, Lenore goes into Who tier. However, Lenore would be too much for me. I'll just go ahead and say it. I can sometimes appreciate, you know, I need a kick in the pants sometimes, right? To like get up and do anything. I'm very bad about being a creature of inertia. You know, once I start do something, I will typically go until it is finished. I don't know, but if I stop, it's really hard for me to start again. It's just how I am. And so sometimes, right, you need that kind of kick to get you moving. Right, and I can really appreciate that. But Lenore really has this, like, from the accounts from Jill, and even Gabby to some extent, she has this very, like, overwhelming, almost controlling demeanor. Not in, like, a malicious way, not in a, like, a I want to do everything for you sense, but almost in that sense. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like she wants the best for you from what is presented. But at the same time, you know, she is deciding what is best for you. And I don't need that in my life. I want to make my own decisions. I'm a big boy. I'm a grown adult. I want to make my own choices. So I don't know. I think if I were to place Lenore, she'd probably be in an avoid eye contact. Not lose my number tier, right? But probably the top of avoid eye contact, maybe cresting a little into occasional chat. It would depend. It would depend a lot about if we could actually talk to Lenore and see how she is. That would change my viewpoint a lot. This next person, I don't even know who this is. I don't remember this person at all. So, I mean, that's the easiest Who tier of my life. Please tell me if I'm just forgetting this individual. I do not recognize them. Maybe they showed up like once really early and I just... Is that maybe the secretary that Brian... Because like someone calls the bar for Brian. Is that who that... I don't even know. Yeah, I got nothing. I can't rank someone I don't know. Now this is Mario, if I remember his name correctly. We only see Mario like twice, 3 times maybe, a couple times. Very few times, and not for very long any time. The things I remember about Mario is a delivery driver who loves bikes. He loves his bikes, he loves his motorcycles. I assume that's what they mean by bikes, right? I highly doubt he's out here riding a literal like bicycle, though that would be hilarious, and I would love that as well. Big fan. Yeah, he talks about riding the open road and whatnot. He's definitely a motorcycle. Big bike buff, which that's pretty cool. Motorcycles are cool. I'm not like that into it, but I've ridden on motorcycles before and it's pretty fun. So I can get behind that. That's a hobby that I can get behind and I can support and show some enthusiasm for and not be weirded out by, right? The problem is like the only other thing that I really have to go off of with Mario is that he's in like that weird gang, right? Or he hangs out with those, or he talks about them. I don't fully remember, which is not a good sign for you, Mario. It's not looking too good. But the only other thing is like he always wanted to order like the manly drinks, even though he didn't like them. And he's like, "Oh, is it weird that I'm gay?" Like, I just like own it, dude. Like you gotta have some confidence. You gotta step up and be like, "Yeah, I'm walking up and I want my fucking virgin strawberry daiquiri. What of it, bitch? I order what I want and I like it, right?" Like you gotta, I really appreciate the self-confidence, you know? And to some people that might be a cute sign, right? That they're vulnerable, they're embarrassed, right? But for me, I don't know. I like a bit more assertion where it's like, come on, let's go. I don't think I could put him in avoid eye contact tier though, just because like he seems very passionate about with the things he talks about. I think he goes to the bottom of occasional chat. I can meet up with Mario, hang out with him. I see him once a month at the bar when I hang out there. Whatever, totally fine. Oh, this isn't Rad Shiba. This is the other one. This is the boss Shiba with the eye patch. Basically, all I remember about him is that he's a military man, dog, I guess. But hear me out. He's a fucking dog. Like, what do you want from me? He's a goddamn dog. I'm not gonna humor this discussion. As a character, he would probably go in Who tier, honestly, just because like we'd see him once and not for very long. He does run like a dog charity, humane home for dogs. That's pretty cool, right? But you kind of need a bit more of a personality than that for me to rank you in any sort of sense. Now this is Norma. I want to say her name was Norma. Maybe? Was that it? I don't remember. But she look, literal child. Actually literal child tier. We don't talk with her very much though. So like, from what I remember, she comes into the bar and she's like, my parents are putting so much pressure on me, so I want to disappoint them by coming home smelling of alcohol. And we're like, hey kid, that's dumb as hell, don't do that. And then we eventually talk her down. She comes back later and is like, hey, you know, thank you for that. I appreciate the little mini arc there, but I don't know, it just kind of feels like it's something that I can understand and is not necessarily directly relatable to me. I don't feel like I was ever in that particular position, but it is something that is easy to empathize with. The pressure of, you know, like your parents or, you know, other, even not even when you were just a kid, but in general, like from people to perform, right? It can be too much to you sometimes, right? And especially with parents, it can be hard to kind of like find the line where you're like, it's my life, I want to do what I want, right? You can't make decisions for me. I need to live my life. It's hard to find that line and kind of stand up for yourself. I was lucky I never had to deal with that. I know some people who went through some similar situations, not to any extreme degree like what is presented here, but yeah, and it's relatable and something I can empathize with. But I don't know, like I guess in like a character tier list, she'd probably be in like a C. Maybe D. It's just, again, there's not much to go off of. She kind of doesn't have a lot of personality, I feel. Whatever. All right. Again, Rad Shiba is a literal dog. However, if this was a character tier list and not a waifu tier list, Rad Shiba would be S tier. And for literally no other reason than he's a fucking dog with a Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses. Do I need to say any more? Like, come on, dude. Yeah, he can be kind of too much sometimes. He's really energetic. He's a fucking dog. What do you want from him? But he's a dog that wears sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt. That's insane. That's crazy. Pardon me while I take a quick hydration break. Oh my god, this video has been going on much longer than I thought. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there, though. I had no idea how long I'd be able to ramble about this. I was like, I'll knock this out real quick. Incorrect. Oh boy, was I wrong. All right, next up is Sei. Sei is an absolute sweetheart. I really, really like Sei. She is insanely selfless, right? Actually works as like an EMT in the police force or something, right? As this Valkyrie, you know, just wants to help people, save them, do all she can to just help anyone that she actually can. When we actually talk to her, she's just this very sweet, kind person, looking out for, you know, she respects when Jill's having like rough times after learning about Lenore's death. She respects the boundaries, you know, but she admits that she's kind of awkward in these situations. She doesn't know how to handle it. Just a real overall great character. The one downside for Sei for me is that also she's like strong as hell. Like, she's fucking ripped, and that's rad. I'm not gonna lie. That's fucking cool. I'm into that, right? That's rad. She's just insanely tough. That's cool. But the downside for me with Sei, and the thing that's going to put her in dinner and a movie tier, I think above Jamie. Not above Jill, but above Jamie, and not Notice Me Senpai tier, is because if I were to be in a long-lasting relationship with Sei, I would be worried sick every single goddamn day. Because Sei wants to be on the front lines helping people in dangerous situations. So every day, I would be terrified. I'd be reading the news and see like, you know, huge fire erupts in building. I'd be like, oh my god, that's in the same, you know, side of town. That's in the same zip code that Sei works. Is she okay? Oh my lord. And, you know, I would be the worried wreck. I would be the problem, right? I would be the problem, right? I'd come home at like, you know, whatever, like 6 o'clock. And if Sei normally comes home at 6:30, at 6:45, I'd be calling the fucking police, being like, what happened? Is Sei okay? What's going on? And in reality, she walks in at, you know, 6:47 and says, oh, sorry, you know, the traffic was kind of bad, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to deal with it. I would be too much of a wreck, and it would cause friction for everyone involved. So that's why I cannot, in good faith, put Sei in Notice Me Senpai tier. Next up, though, is Stella. And Stella is also a sweetheart, but she doesn't show it as much as Sei. Stella is very conscientious. Things that I really like about Stella is that she has this, like, she's obviously very wealthy, right? That's kind of the big thing that they really push at first. But even for being so wealthy, she doesn't feel super detached, right? That's normally how these kind of like insanely ritzy rich characters come across in various forms of media. Is that, oh, I can't even imagine what you commoners would have to. You don't have servants serve you your meals. They don't cut your steak for you, your filet mignon. How do you live, right? Like that shit's ridiculous, right? She doesn't come across as that. She comes across as a very grounded, you know, like reasonable person to deal with that also kind of has the side where she deals in the big business, the wealthy, you know, circles of Glitch City, right? And I really that earns a lot of respect for me because I think it's probably really easy to fall into that illusioned mindset when you are so far removed from other people, right? It can kind of erode your empathy, I feel. But she manages to overcome that. But not only that, the biggest thing for me that I really, really love about Stella, and it absolutely warmed my heart every time they talked about it, was as Christmas approached, or Mega Christmas in the game, she would get so excited talking about like buying these gifts for all the kids and how like excited she was to throw the party and all of that, and you know, and that really like struck with me, right? I think that's really, really sweet. Someone who's got such a soft spot for other people or kids in general, kids specifically, I should say, not in general. That's really, I don't know, that's really heartwarming to me. However, the thing that's keeping Stella out of Notice Me Senpai tier, and I think appropriately enough, she goes next to Sei. I think Sei goes above Stella for me. Is that even though she's kind of still, grounded, still feels, connected to the average person, doesn't feel like on this high horse, high pedestal, she is still insanely rich. And being with someone like that, you do have to deal with the lifestyle of being insanely rich, okay? At some point, whatever company her parents own, they'll retire, or they'll, pass away or something. It'll probably fall to her, or maybe it won't. You're going to have to deal with the constant, corporate backstabbing and intrigue and politics and all of the mess that comes with all of that. And that is something that I do not want in my life. I am not wealthy. I am not wealthy by any stretch of the imagination, but I can provide for myself. All right. I don't want to be rich because there's a lot of complications that come around when you're insanely rich, So I think for me, Stella would go in dinner and a movie tier. I'd love to hang out, spend a lot of time with her, but it's not an everyday sort of thing for me, right? I couldn't do that. Oh my fucking God, here we go. I was not mentally prepared for this. Streaming Chan, Nicole Chen was her name, right? If I remember correctly, Nicole Chen, from the last conversation we had with her. I almost want to use the two different versions of her for the first time we interact with her and the second time, because they are vastly different. But I'm not going to do that. That's not fair. I already established we're going to treat them after we have seen everything and take it all into account. Streaming Chan, the first time we meet her, is the easiest lose my number tier of all time. Probably not as low as Donovan, but it's close. She's just way too much, way over the top, all the time. Cannot handle it. I could not live my life being constantly monitored 24/7 on stream. That's insanity to me. I could not handle her constant influencer persona all the time. Nah. That is not the energy I want in my life. Don't need that. But the second time we meet with her, she seems to have mellowed out a lot. I think she hit that heavy crash, right? But even still, Streaming Chan's too much for me. And so she does go into lose my number tier above Donovan. It's kind of close to avoid eye contact, but Streaming Chan is someone I do not want to interact with. Just too much. I can't handle that. Again, we talked a bit about it with Anna, that chaotic energy, but there are times where she's not constantly going 24/7. Oh my God, I need my views, but talking about the contract of my adult VR model and the contract got used for sexual purposes, just going. I can't do that. I can't do it. It's too much. Lose my number tier. Now, Taylor, we only see once. And we don't have a particularly long conversation with Taylor, but I do feel like we get a good grip of kind of who Taylor is. Taylor was a very, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I don't actually feel like I got a good grip on who Taylor is. Because I'm thinking back, because I can't remember, I don't think it was Kira Miki that came in with Taylor. Was it? Or was it Alma, Dorothy? It was one of these. Someone came in when Taylor was at the bar, and he bought her a drink, right? Yada yada. Tried to kind of put the schmoves on, whatever. I will say, I think ultimately he goes into who tier. Just not enough time with him. But on a sheer character tier, I think he was fine. He was cordial, polite, interesting to talk to. That is a big plus for me, is that I think that would probably put him in coffee date tier if I had a better idea of kind of what he is like, is because it'd be really fucking cool to talk to a person who's just a brain in a jar and learn more about them. I'm sure at some point you'd kind of dry that line of conversation up and you would need more new interesting topics. And that's why I think Alma's pretty high tier, and Dorothy, right? Because they can always bring new stories and stuff like that to the table. But yeah, Taylor Taylor's pretty cool. He's a fucking brain in a jar. Like, that's rad. This is like some like Futurama shit, you know? But ultimately, I don't feel confident putting him anywhere. I actually though, like, I don't even recognize this person. The biggest Who tier of my life. I have no idea who that is. These two people here, these two, I have no fucking clue. Please tell me if you know who they are and I've just forgotten. That would be nice, because I genuinely have nothing. And to back it up, this person, I don't remember her name. But she was the other cosplay girl that came in with this Lilum. I don't remember really anything about her other than she said, hey, do you know where the expo center is? And then we like served her a drink and they left. So pretty easy Who tier. We're just going to move on. Vergio is a tough one, because 99% of the game, not even that, probably like 90% of the interactions with Vergio, he's two different people, right? You know, at first, Vergio is the most unbearable, obnoxious, like, lose my number tier character in the world. However, the not even including the special ending with him. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the big thing for me that turned me around on Vergio was the conversation after Jill learned about Lenore's death, where she's like in a really shitty mood and not putting up with his bullshit. And Vergio comes out with the most like wholesome, you know, emotionally mature, how to cope advice I've ever fucking heard. Like, he incredibly supportive, great stuff. Actually grade A from Vergio. And I kind of want to make like just a dad tier for him. Because he's got some heavy dad energy, especially with Sei and Stella, right? And so, and then there's also, you know, learning about specifically what happened with the White Knights. He's the one who saved Sei and Stella from the crazy other White Knight. He fucking killed him, because that guy was probably going to kill both of them. The dude gouged out Stella's eye and kicked Sei so hard she had ruptured organs. Like, he saved their lives, you know. Incredible man. I don't know. I don't know. He can cook some damn good curry too, it looks like. Where to put Vergio? I almost don't feel like we get a good grip on him, but that's a coward answer. That's a cowardice tier. I want to keep as few people in Who tier as possible. So I think ultimately I would put Vergio. Yeah, I'll just do it. I'm gonna put Vergio below Stella. I'm going to put him up here with these two. I don't think he crests over Stella or Sei for me. Just because we don't get enough time with who he actually is. But he has enough positives going for him, and we can see just how much of like a really caring individual he is, that I do feel confident putting him in this A tier. And that puts us at our last person, Betty. Betty always hangs out with Deal. She's the foil to Deal, where Deal is the calm, collected, you know, mellow one. Betty is the chaotic energy, right? Like fucking kicking people and having all these relationships and dropping them for this, that, and the other, right? And going on. Betty's too much for me. However, Betty is too much for me, but not in like a Streaming Chan level. Streaming Chan is too much for me to even talk to. I think Betty, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on this, I think Betty goes into occasional chat tier. I think she goes below Anna for me, because I could talk with Betty. She has some interesting viewpoints. She's kind of funny at times, you know, haha, bucket of bolts, you know, nudges Deal, right? And they're kind of a package deal, right? I imagine package deal. Where if you're talking with one, you're probably gonna also be dealing with the other as well. And that's totally fine. I can't list any strong positives or negatives really for Betty, other than just, I don't know, she's like a little too much for me. I kind of find it weird also if I'm talking to someone, they're like, yeah, I've gone through like 30 relationships in the past, 3 months, just because, oh, I didn't like the one thing that this person did, bye. But at the same time, it's like hella based, and I kind of respect it. Where it's like, you found something that you didn't like and you didn't feel you could work through, so you'll more fish in the sea, right? So I think that's my end placement, occasional chat. All in all, pretty balanced, I will say. We're pretty evenly split. Top heavy tier list. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna dispute it. But there's a lot of really good characters. What do you want from me? All right, what are you gonna do? Sue me? Only a couple ones that I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, you know, we've got these other tiers down here. I think I talked about everyone. 4A or 4A S tier. Incredible cat from a character tier list, but he is a cat. But yeah, that's the Valhalla, VA-11 Hall-A Cyberpunk bartending action definitive waifu tier list. You are allowed to disagree, just know and accept in your heart that you are wrong. This is the true experience, and there is no disputing it by both. This is proven with facts and logic, as has been discussed here, clearly. But anyway, thank you for watching and listening to me ramble for, oh my god, like an hour? Jesus Christ. If you made it this long, you're a real fucking trooper. Holy hell. As always, there will be a link in the description where you can pick the game up and run it through. If somehow you're watching this and you haven't seen the game, why? Actually, why though? Kind of weird, but I respect it. But yeah, maybe this will convince you to pick it up and try it. I really enjoyed it. So there'll be a link down there that'll bring you to the Steam page. You can give it a look over and check it out. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, or your night, or whatever else it may be, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye!